This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon/Two-Headed Nerd. Become a patron. Support this show.
Once, they were two best friends managing a comic book store. But when an innocent blood oath went wrong, the two found themselves trapped in the same body, imprisoned in a strange pyramid made of long boxes, buried deep below their hometown, where they are doomed to discuss comic books until the end of time. They were once Joe and Matt. Now they are known as the Two-Headed Nerd. And this is their podcast.
Broadcasting from the Ziggurat at Omaha and caverns deep below the metro area, where we had to reschedule our Venom 3 and Kraven the Hunter holiday party viewing this past weekend due to weather, but it sounds like Sony proved everybody wrong and is laughing their way all the way to the bank. Up yours, haters! It's our pleasure to welcome you to episode 764 of the Two-Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast. I'm your head number one, and my name is Matt Baum.
I'm the internet's Joe Patrick, your head number two, and I think you read some different box office headlines than the rest of us, buddy.
I'm strictly a Sony Discord guy, so everything's rosy over there. I don't know.
Okay,
Well,
sure.
yeah.
It's time for another new comic show where we'll review 8 new comics from the past 2 weeks. After that, we'll set you up with our must-read new comic picks for next week.
Normally after that, we would give you a nibble of our Patreon extra, where this time we reviewed every comic holiday special we could find. But instead, we're giving it away to our listeners as a holiday gift. More on that in a bit. But now, get ready for a Batman fighting masochistic maniacs, the sudden return of Superwoman, Ultimate Nick Fury, and the new gods. It's review time in the Ziggurat.
Before we put any of these comics on the Naughty or Nice list, let's explain the rules. Each comic will be rated using our 3-point scale of buy it, skim it, or leave it. In the end, we pick the best comic we read for this episode to add to our THN permanent collection. Our AI Macho posts our written reviews on twoheadednerd.com for the good little kitty's convenience. But you gotta tune into the show if you want to hear us fight. Macho, be a good little helper and fetch us our final review comic pile of the year.
Happy holidays, sirs. Here are your comics to review from the week of Wednesday, December 11th.
Our reviews this week begin on a lighter note with Batman, Dark Patterns from DC. It's written by Dan Waters with art by Hayden Sherman, colors by Triona Farrell, letters by Frank Savedovic, and cover by Hayden Sherman, 28 pages for $4.99. I know we like to throw a lot of props to the virtual calligraphy crew because they're a gang and everything, but I think Frank Savedovic has the best comic book hockey name out there in the business right now.
Sure, he's got a name that curves.
That
you know
guy's
what I
a
mean?
goon, man. You could see him knocking teeth out.
That guy's name's got enough letters that it curves on the back of his shirt.
Here is your solicit. Set during the early years of Batman's career, Batman Dark Patterns delves into 4 mysterious cases as he attempts to cement his place as Gotham City's protector while the city itself fights back against him. This is the Dark Knight detective at his most stripped-down core. A man relying on his wits, his skills, and little else as he tackles some of the most twisted mysteries Gotham City and its protector have ever encountered. Case 1, We Are Wounded. A series of sickeningly gruesome murders have sent shockwaves through Gotham. Are these the random works of a serial killer, or is there something more sinister at play? More sinister than a serial killer, huh? Batman attempts to get to the bottom of the mystery before any more victims are claimed. Like maybe, I don't know, Baby Eater or something.
A serial killer that eats people, that's more sinister than a normal serial killer.
That's
right?
still a serial killer, right?
I'm saying there are levels. For those of you keeping track, this is the 8th comic book this month drawn by Hayden Sherman.
Jesus Christ, this dude. And I'll tell you what.
I mean, that's an exaggeration, but...
Oh, I thought you actually knew that.
Go ahead and fact check me if you want, but it's still up there.
It would not have surprised me, to be perfectly honest. This dude is everywhere, but he's no slouch, is what I'm going to say. This guy is incredible. And like this first spread in this book where, I mean, we get a little bit of like, stuff's going on and Gotham's dark and scary and whatever. And then you see the bat symbol, the Batmobile driving towards it in this big spread page. It is
with
awesome.
like the Empire, like the Star Wars crawl, lettering crawl going up.
And
yeah,
like
I know,
the
it's
city
freaking rad as hell.
behind it, the detail he put into these panels. And it's not just that, it's like his POV is really weird and creepy. So you kind of feel like you're Batman spying on people sometimes and stuff. It's so good. He is amazing. And you're going to hear about him in my best of coming up real quick here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to mention this real quick because it came up on the Discord. He takes some liberties with the designs of things for a comic book that's supposedly set during continuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Early years. Batman's got a perfectly round bat symbol, which is of course never been. He also drives a Batmobile. Somebody, I think it was Skelenaut, who said it looks like the Batman movie Batmobile, which I couldn't make it drive in my head.
The Val Kilmer Batmobile.
Actually, it looks like
one.
the bastard child of the Batman 89 Batmobile and the Batman animated series Batmobile.
Yeah, sort of.
Because it's got the crazy stuff shooting out the back, but it's also got the super long flat hood and the snub nose.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
3 headlights in the center, which is probably not
it's so
helpful,
cool looking.
Looks cool. Yeah, it didn't bother me that much because he's telling a very...
No, I mean, artistic license, like...
It's fine.
With somebody like Sherman, I welcome it.
Right. And it's a stylized story. It's a very stylized story.
Exactly right.
And they were so good here with the script too, because it's like this Batman, he has trouble. Like a bunch of security guards almost get the best of him at one point because there's so many of them. Like this is not godlike Batman we see who goes.
He doesn't have a decade of experience.
Right. He's not going toe to toe with Darkseid if he needs to. Right.
Right.
He
even gets shot, sort of like winged at least.
Yeah. He doesn't show any pain though when he happens because he's a total badass. I love it.
I mean, he's still Batman. Come on.
And like there's little touches here. His Bruce and Alfred banter. That's always very important for me. If you're going to understand Batman and write Batman, you got to have really good Bruce and Alfred banter.
This is Waters now. We're praising Sherman a lot, but this is Waters.
Yes, he's not drawing the banter. I agree.
No, I'm just saying I like we want to give credit where it's due.
Right. And he just nails it here. I love the tired young Batman's too brash. It's not real good at this. Alfred coming in and being like, let me help you with that, you moron.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this though. And the designs of everything, Gotham, the car, the killer. Ugh, that is
man,
creepy.
the killer.
Yeah.
Oh, the killer is so weird looking.
Yeah, this gave me really big Silence of the Lambs or like 7 vibes. I'm giving this a huge buy it. And I like that we're not doing another Batman year 1, the third year 1 or something. Right. It's just a story when he was younger and he's coming up.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be a definitive anything.
No.
It's just set. You know what? It's set in the past, like Batman Legends of the Dark Knight was.
Yes.
It was a whole series set during essentially Batman year 1-ish, 2-ish.
Could be anywhere. It's just in there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And it's not like, his first meeting with Two-Face.
Right.
No, it's just an early case of the Batman. It's fucking great.
It's great.
You guys.
It's really
this comic book is so good. Huge buy it from me as well. Everything you said is spot on. The art, I can't undersell the art. It's so gorgeous. And yeah, you're going to hear about Sherman definitely.
Oh yeah.
In 2 weeks time in our Golden Beppo show. Well, let's stick to DC while we're on a roll here and talk about the Superwoman special one-shot from, DC. It's written by Joshua Williamson. Art here is by Edwin Galman, Laura Braga, and Nicola Stimegia.
Sure.
Nicola, I deeply apologize. Colors are by Rex Locus, which sounds like a fake name or an NPC in a role-playing game. Rex Locus.
Definitely a bad guy in a horror
Yeah,
movie,
right. Or somebody you'd meet in like Fallout.
Media
you know what I mean?
conglomerate Rex Locus is shutting down the
Yeah,
orphanage.
the Vault Tech CEO Rex Locus.
We should say probably a very nice guy.
Yeah, I'm sure Rex.
Oh, geez, Rex.
All jokes aside, I'm sure Rex is a sweetheart. Letters here are by Dave Sharp. Cover is by Edwin Gallman. It's 48 pages for $5.99, and here's your solicit. The amazing story of how Daily Planet editor-in-chief Lois Lane got superpowers and became Superwoman is finally told. What does it mean for the matriarch of the super family to fly alongside her family and friends? And how long will these powers last? And who wants these powers for themselves? Guest starring the Atoms, Mr. Terrific, Supergirl, and Silver Banshee. Also, the other Superwoman. Like, let's not leave anybody out. So Matt asked a question before we recorded. Where the hell did this Superwoman thing come from? It basically from the jump of the all-in era of Superman.
Okay.
Of the Superman ongoing title. So only a couple of months.
Okay. Because I was like, oh, we're doing this again. All right.
No, it's right after Absolute Power was over.
Honestly, it wasn't until I started reading the book that I went, oh, this is not a Supergirl story or something.
Yeah, no.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no.
There's another Superwoman, and
yeah, you know what? I'm going to touch on that.
Neat.
As of the All-In era, Lois has powers, and it's been a mystery where they came from. And we kind of joined that particular saga already in progress. So, question marks all around.
I guess.
This is a fun interlude from Williamson, who is crushing it on the Superman book right now. It's got lots of great character moments and build up for future plot lines. The actual explanation of how she ended up with the powers is sort of hand-wavy nonsense. It involves a power suit that she wore for 5 seconds in Absolute Power, yada, yada, yada. Don't worry about it. But the source of the powers is an A+ twist that will definitely come back to haunt her in the year ahead. I love the quote-unquote ladies' night crime fighting sesh with Lois, Supergirl, and I guess Lana, who is still also Superwoman from her DC Rebirth days, which is fine. We just don't see her that often.
Uh-huh.
All right. Just hold your tongue. You'll get your turn.
There's too many super people
with what's happening here.
Too many super people. This takes away from Superman and how special he is. It doesn't. It's too many super people running around. I can't.
All right, you'll get your chance. I'm not done.
They're all wearing similar costumes. I cannot care about this many super people. I can't.
All right. The art is dynamic and fun in general. It's got some weird ass faces and awkward figure drawing at times.
Yeah.
Still looks pretty great overall. I'm really enjoying the Superman books. I think Williamson has done a fantastic job since he took over as the main Superman writer. Are there too many super people? Yeah. And Matt's going to get his chance to express that. But I still really love both books. This is a buy it for me. I think it is a nice little piece of that Superwoman puzzle.
So I'm not going to go back into the too many super people. You heard me. That's it. That's my opinion. There's not like anything really wrong with this comic other than it's just like a lot of recap. This is what happened in that moment when this was going on and this was what happened. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess they didn't tell this story. So maybe
actually all of it is new. Yeah. It's all new information.
Informing people. It kind of came off as like, in case you missed it, but I guess it's all new information. I like the twist where the powers came from. I didn't think the hand wavy, this is how she got those powers thing worked at all. I was like, you can do better than this. And
I don't think they sold that enough. I think they needed to.
It was not good.
I think they needed to set up more about that in Absolute Power when she shows up in the suit.
Yeah. I mean,
they need to express like, oh, there's something going on with this suit.
And maybe there was something
they didn't
there,
really.
But like, I don't know. I never emotionally connected with it. I don't care about this many super people. I don't know enough about this many super people all wearing a similar costume, and I don't like this art. I'm not saying he's a bad artist. No, it's a very talented artist.
It's not your cup of tea.
I don't care for this style, and it just didn't work for me. I'm giving it a skim at best. I'd rather just read Superman stories, I think, where he's the guy.
But
I don't even need two Superboys.
You don't read Superman, or
I
else you would know
don't even
that
need two
Superwoman was a
Superboys,
thing.
let alone 3 Superwomen. I don't need it.
But if you were reading Superman, a character you profess to love, you would know that there is a Superwoman.
I would, and I still wouldn't care. There's too many super people. I don't like the twins. I still don't understand what's going on with the Chinese
they
Superman.
barely use the twins.
That never in China. Like, what are we doing?
That's a fair point.
There's too many of them. We would both much rather discuss the new Infinity Watch, a group of characters
Oh my God.
close to our heart that we are followed. And if you haven't followed, good news. This first issue is here to bring in new readers and get them excited about the Infinity Watch. Let's talk about it. It's number 1. It's from Marvel, written by Derek Landy with pencils by Ruari Coleman, inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Brian Rebner and Eric Arcianega, letters by VC's Corey Pettit, and cover by Salvador LaRocca. It is a weird cover.
It's not a good cover, guys.
It's a
Salvador
weird
LaRocca
cover.
is not the man he used to be.
Salvador LaRocca he's going through style changes, and this latest style change I don't like. Everyone looks like they're made of delicious hot dog meat. I can't like.
Everyone's got full pouty
Yeah,
lips.
It's kind of weird.
Thanks.
It's 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. Who is the most powerful? Sorry, Thor. Sorry, Hulk. These are the 7 most powerful people in the universe. Each wielding one of the embodiments of all power in existence. The Infinity Stones! Half of the Stone Bearers are villains, and the other half certainly aren't Hall of Fame heroes. So what does this mean for the Marvel Universe? If Star has anything to say about it, we can start calling it the Star Universe. Double. Can Colleen Wing or Phil Coulson?
Oh God, that's in the solicit?
Possibly tilt the balance toward good? No, the farts aren't in the solicit. I added those.
No, the Star Universe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So the art here, it's kind of realistic, but kind of cartoony, and there's just really weird faces on every page. And
it kind of occupies that same space in my brain as guys like Clayton Henry.
Jim Calafiore.
Right? Yeah, Clayton Henry is another one of those guys.
Yes.
Where it's not outrageously stylized.
No,
but it's also not slavishly realistic.
Yes, and at times that style does not help.
And the cartoony side shines through sometimes.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I wasn't really partial to it, and like these outfits. Star is like the only one that's like wearing her outfit. I'm not a Star fan or anything, but like this is what she's always worn. Everybody else, kind of looks, I don't know, just nondescript superhero costume. And this is another one of those stories where it's like, okay, we're all godlike badasses. We all have like godlike powers. So why do I care? Right? Like if you're not a threat, you could just fucking fix everything if you mess up, obviously. Like what are the stakes here? And like, is Phil Coulson the embodiment of death, or is he the Death Stone? And if he is the Death Stone,
the answer is yes.
Why does he look like the Grim Reaper? Is this does Thanos want to make out with Phil Coulson? Is that what are we doing?
He replaced Thanos'
if
girlfriend.
Thanos wants to, that is Thanos' gig. I'm not judging.
No, right. Love is love. No. So Phil Coulson is the new embodiment of death in the Marvel Universe. He replaced Lady Death.
Right. Not
also
that Lady
is
Death.
he has been taken over by the Death Stone, which is a newly created Infinity Gem.
That was my next question. We haven't had a Death Stone before this bullshit.
That's a new thing, yeah.
Well, see, and the good thing here is if you are coming in fresh, because, it's a first issue, you should be able to pick this up, start reading. No explanation. None. No, hope you were following the action in this book. No, here's these characters named this that do this thing. None of that. They just expect you to know everybody. I did not. And I never connected with anyone because all they do is fight the whole goddamn issue. They just snip and snipe at each other the whole damn time. And then when nondescript evil aliens from another dimension where there's also Infinity Stones show up, the only reason they can't beat them up is because they're so bad at their job. But they're gods. Like, it's just like, there's nothing here to like. I didn't care. I didn't know what was going on. I felt no connection to the characters. And like, look, I'm not accusing anyone of being racist or anything, but I think it's a little weak that we give Colleen Wing an Infinity Stone and she still needs a samurai sword because she's half Japanese. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, she has it because she likes it.
It's dumb, Joe. It's dumb.
I mean, she's got the Mind Stone. It's not like she's got the Power Stone.
Well, she's got the Mind Stone and she has a glowing samurai sword that does stuff. Is her mind doing that? Why doesn't she just use the Mind Stone to change people's mind and
maybe
not
it's
fight
a
them?
mind sword.
You know, like, I don't know. But if it was, never explained. I did not give a crap about this. I'm giving it a leave it.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those of you that aren't in the know, and I'm not professing to be an expert of any kind because I haven't read any of this shit, but I just am aware from seeing news reports and press releases that this whole thing about the Infinity Stones, like taking over the bodies of mortal beings happened like 2 or 3 years ago.
I guess. I don't.
In the pages of the summer annuals of some books. And that's the only place they've been popping up is the annuals that nobody reads.
Yeah.
There was a series of annuals. I think that's where the whole thing with Phil Coulson becoming the Death Stone came from.
And like, they're trying to give us this big, like, oh my God, shock ending. But no,
it's not shocking.
It doesn't really work
because you don't care about anybody.
One, I don't care. Two, you all have the power of gods. So you can probably just fix that. Right?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a no prize attempt statement here. And I'm going to say that if all of the Infinity Watch characters who are the embodiment of the Infinity Stones are together working in tandem, they should have the entire power of the Infinity Gauntlet, which is to say omnipotent power.
One would think, you know,
but they don't.
No, they don't. They're terrible at this. And man, I don't care about them.
I didn't even know Colleen Wing was the Mind Stone. And when I saw that, I went, oh,
yeah,
because I love Colleen Wing.
I do too. And I don't give a shit about, like, if you want to have aliens fighting for the Infinity Stones, trying to get control of the Infinity Stones, fine. Into it. Great. Let's go. You know, but when they start going into people and now I've got the power of mind and it makes my sword glow. What?
Yeah, sure. Like you're the...
What are we doing?
Like you're the cat, you're the Planeteers, right? And you have to like focus your power to, no. Like I'm fine with an Infinity Watch that keeps track of the stones. I'm fine with that. I need it to be a cosmic book.
Yes.
That does not take place on Earth.
With a bunch of cool,
do not look like normal
cosmic
superheroes.
Characters. And they're all representatives of different worlds. Because nobody should have them all, you know, like, come on.
I don't give two shits about this version.
No.
This is a leave it for me as well. Oh, Apex. I think Apex is the only other character other than Colleen Starr, who was a Captain Marvel character, and Phil. Apex showed up, I want to say, in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy recent volumes, and he was the new Prince of Power. Okay. But he was just really shitty at it.
Well, thanks for letting me know, Marvel.
And like Hercules had to go like teach him a lesson because it's like, you can't be the Prince of Power if this is how you're going to act. Yeah. But no thanks. Hard pass. Well, I can't speak for Matt, but while I might not care about the new Infinity Watch, I do care about the new Ultimate Universe.
I'm caught up. I'm in.
Last temperature check, you were on board.
No, I am in. Yeah, I caught up on Ultimates, and I'm like, this book is really good. I will say Ultimates is the only only book that I'm really excited for. Spider-Man is
I like
good.
Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's more of a character piece.
It's good, but it's more of a character piece, and it's a little slow, to be perfectly honest.
Ultimates feels like it actually makes a difference in the scheme of the ongoing plot.
They're fleshing out a world. Black Panther,
yes.
I'm out. I dropped. I just don't care.
I confess I have not.
Ultimate
I need to get
X-Men,
caught up on it.
done. Do not care. I'm out.
All right. So let me get into this and then we'll talk about it. So this all brings us to Ultimate Universe, 1 year in. It's a one-shot from Marvel. It's written by Dennis Camp and Chris Condon, with art by Jonas Scharf and Alessandro Capuccio. Colors are by Mattia Iacano and Brian Valenza. Letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. He did not get to share the work. He had to do it all himself. The cover is by Rafael Albuquerque, who does precious little Marvel work. I'd love to see that guy do more Marvel work.
Because this cover kicks ass. It's
really good.
Yeah. It's like
Here's your solicit.
Starenko homage. It's really good.
Yeah. Oh, it's 40 pages for $5.99. Here's your solicit. The clock is ticking down to the Maker's arrival. Dennis Camp flips the narrative on Ultimates and takes us inside the Maker's Council. The heroes of the Ultimate Universe aren't the only ones who have been preparing for the return of the Maker. And the clock is ticking down. This unique one-shot sets the stage for the second year of the Ultimate line and includes the debut of the Ultimate versions of two major Marvel characters. One is on the cover. It's Nick Fury Sr. The other one, yes, Matt called it. Credit where it's due. It's obviously Ultimate
Who
Wolverine.
else is it going to be?
So
it's not like, come on. It's not even that good of a call.
It's not even really, it wasn't.
Give me a break. Of course it's Wolverine.
The odds were even. So 1 year in to the grand Ultimate redesign, and we take a break from the main players to take a look at what the villains are up to. This, as I said, introduces the Ultimate version of Nick Fury Sr., and I'm giving them credit, or the benefit of the doubt, that Nick Fury Jr. is still out there somewhere, and that they're not just like whitewashing the guy. He is the director of HAND, the Heroic Anomaly Neutralization Directorate, which sounds just very evil.
Oh, yeah.
Our intro to HAND is chilling stuff. Shades of what Robert Redford wanted to get up to in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Like, let's murder these people before they're a threat.
Yeah. Also kind of what Trump wants to do now. So
let's execute people for thought crimes. Yeah. It's very dystopian. I was thrilled to see Camp and Scharf bring back our pals X-Tech Op and the weird blue meanies from Elektra Assassin.
Yeah.
They're all over the place in this comic.
Had we not just read that not too long ago, I would have been like, what is
what
this?
the fuck? Right. Yeah, for sure. There's almost no reason at all for them to be there. There is one passing reference to what X-Tech Op is. Otherwise, it's just added flavor, and I loved it.
Yeah, he's just a fan, and he's throwing it in.
Yeah, of course, and it's great. Scharf's art is fantastic. It reminded me of guys like Kev Walker and Declan Shalvey.
Yeah.
It's similar to what we were talking about with people like Clayton Henry and Jim Calafiore, where it's like realistic-ish. But this is the other side of that coin where the cartoonish side, the exaggerated side, is grittier.
Yeah.
It was fun to see this Nick, who is a tool of the oppressors in a very literal sense, butt up against well-known events and characters, like killing certain highly recognizable characters before they can realize their heroic potential. The tragedy of Nick Fury's story is brutal, and it really ramps up the tension building in this new universe. It's going to build all the way through the second year. And like the solicit said 2 separate times, the clock is ticking and the Maker is going to pop out of here in real time at the end of the year 2. And so it's going to be bad business. The second Ultimate debut, of course, is the Ultimate Winter Wolverine Soldier. It's good, but it's basically just a short backup setting the stage for the Ultimate Wolverine miniseries. So we only get a tease here, but it's a good tease.
I thought it also makes like really good sense for the way we've set up where mutants are in this world. I mean, they're basically, look, Russia, this is we're going to take care of our mutants. It's not going to be the same sweet way that Chuck Xavier did it, but we're taking care of them.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah.
Well, it's like, you know, they also like Wolverine's from Canada, so it ain't like he's a Russian national.
No. But they took them all to the Russian territory.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And also, like, the balance of power, like the Earth is divvied up in all sorts of weird ways in this universe. And so, yeah, it's bad news basically for anyone on the side of Angels, and Wolverine in this. Get ready for him to be a capital V villain.
Yeah. Working for an evil Colossus, an evil Ileana, and an evil Omega Red.
Yeah. This is super great. I'm still thinking about that Nick Fury story. It's so upsetting when you figure it all out.
Oh, I love it.
In the end.
I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, no. I mean, like in a good way.
I mean,
It's
I
just
know.
Like, oh my
but
God.
Like, yeah.
It's like so affecting.
They
right?
keep stacking this universe
man.
and going
And
like,
it's just
it's way worse than
God.
you think. Oh, it's even worse than that. Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's the Ultimate Universe is good, you guys. Not every book is for everybody, but this book is fantastic. Huge buy it from me.
Yeah, it's a buy it. And again, Ultimates is really, if you're enjoying that, you'll enjoy this. I can't speak to all the other stuff. I think they kind of need to get some shit in line, quite honestly. But the Ultimates book, this Ultimate Spider-Man, definitely worth reads. I'm giving this a buy it. This was great.
Ultimate Wolverine, they announced this week, we'll see the debuts of Ultimate Gambit and Ultimate Kitty Pryde. So get pumped for that, I guess.
Thank God. This week's comics begin with the return of a hero from my late teens, early 20s, I guess. Nexus is back in the pages of Nexus Scourge, #1 from Alien Books. They don't just put out crappy Valiant titles. Written by Mike Baron.
This is the first Alien comic book I have ever laid my eyes on.
Oh no, they've got a few. There's been.
Oh, I know that they have a few, but I've never seen them.
They also put out Valiant. Oh, and there's another Valiant reboot coming.
Yeah, boy, we'll get into that in the
Reboot
gang
boot.
hang, maybe.
This is written by Mike Baron, art by Kelsey Shannon, letters by Warren Montgomery, cover by Kelsey Shannon, 28 pages for $4.99. Here's your solicit. The Eisner Award-winning science fiction vigilante is back in a universe-shattering tale that's essential for all Nexus fans. Mike Baron and Steve Rude's Nexus enters a new era with classic characters and an all-new villain that's destroying the universe one planet at a time. It's a breathtaking new vision for the Nexus universe by series co-creator Mike Baron and up-and-coming artist Kelsey Shannon, who worked on Batman Adventures and G.I. Joe. I don't know what G.I. Joe, though. I assume it's the other.
My guess is G.I.
Hama.
Joe, A Real American Hero, or the IDW G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Nexus Scourge is an all-new era of Nexus, a 2-issue event by Mike Baron and Kelsey Shannon, exclusively from Alien Books, planet-destroying action and a wry wit that's perfect for fans of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and classic Doctor Who. That is probably the best explanation of Nexus that I can come up with. And I'm not saying, like, trying to make excuses for Nexus here. Back in the day, Mike Baron and Steve Rude did a sci-fi thing. It was definitely very British sci-fi inspired. It is wacky. It is cartoony, but the stakes are huge, like really huge. Nexus is basically a cosmic executioner. That's his job. He's like Judge Dredd in space with the power of Superman and Quasar, more or less. He shows up, he judges you, he shoots you with cosmic bolts, and you die if you're evil, right? This story very much picks up where Nexus left off. And I thought for sure, there's no way I'm going to appreciate this without Steve Rude. It's just not going to work for me because Steve Rude's art was so integral to that story. But Kelsey Shannon, I don't know where this kid came from. I don't know how we missed him. God damn that he's good. Really good. And he's not aping Rude either. You can see him,
not at all.
You can see him homaging Rude without a doubt. The way
you can see how he ended up drawing a book like the Batman Adventures or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's got an animated tinge to it,
Right.
that that's similar to what Rude has done.
And
in the
not
past.
just that, but like even like his panel setups where someone's laughing in the forefront. And there's just like a head like, and there's a bunch of wacky
there's a
shit going
a
on.
very kind of classic looking,
Yeah.
right?
Nexus was always just like spaz attack, multicolored, vivid sci-fi with this heavy message behind it. And I think they capture it perfectly here. It's a lot, folks. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot if you've never read it.
I mean,
but you know what's going on.
Let me step in here
know?
real quick and just say that as somebody that's never read Nexus before now, I was unprepared for the variety of concepts. Like, it's not just that, like, I read the intro where it was like, Nexus is a cosmic executioner. I was like, what, really?
Yeah.
And then I kept reading, and then all of a sudden he is in the jungle with a big game hunter wearing a pith helmet. And so it's got these like weird old-timey trappings as well.
Yeah. Well,
which is very strange.
There's a planet in the universe for any story they want to tell in Nexus, whether it's a Western planet or a caveman planet.
I mean, there's like an oil baron looking dude.
But like even in that moment where he's hunting with that guy, he was like, you need a special kind of rifle to kill these type things. And Nexus is like, well, what did those things do? He's like, well, they really scared the colonists. And he's like, oh, did they figure that out? He's like, well, they're all dead. Like, oh, so you just came and killed all these animals. So you're saying, like,
right.
Everyone is wacky as it gets. He's always sort of judging and listening to what people are saying and their actions. And even that guy was like, this is Nexus. So I gotta watch what I say.
Yeah. It's almost absurdist on a certain level.
Absolutely
because
absurdist.
You might turn the page and then there's a dinosaur slapping a guy with a fish.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy, but it's so good. And like, I love this character. I love the world they built. I'm so pleased to see this Kelsey Shannon kid can do the job. Do I wish it was Steve Rude? Sure. It's their business why they're not working together anymore. I don't know what happened. It's too bad. Right. But glad to see it back, even if it's only for 2 issues, which, come on. That kind of sucks. Like, this is a huge story. You're going to sell it up in 2 issues? Come on.
I mean, 2 lengthy issues with no ads.
I guess. I'm giving it a buy it. This is a huge buy it for me, but I admitted Nexus fan, so they had me in the first few pages.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm going to give it a buy it as well. It's sort of like, I felt the same way reading this as I did when we reviewed that new Grendel book a few months ago. I had never read Grendel before. And yeah, it's like the 30th Grendel story or, whatever.
Yeah, we're like year 26 of Grendel.
Yeah. But I read it and I was like, oh man, this art is fantastic. And the story, I can still follow the story.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know all of the details of everything. And I enjoyed myself. And I felt the exact same way reading this, even though I had no clue what was happening most of the time.
Right.
Or at least, let me rephrase. Even though I had no clue what the deal was with all of these weird characters.
Sure.
I could still follow the plot.
Yeah, this is like, what if Futurama was written by the writers of Doctor Who and had like serious stakes?
I think Doctor Who is a very apt description because it really, like, Doctor Who really is that, where it's just like, on this planet, everybody's a robot, but it's also somehow Victorian England.
Right.
Okay. I guess Geronimo, let's go.
And we want to tell a Sherlock Holmes story or whatever.
Right. Exactly. This is a buy it for me. This artist is fantastic.
He's so good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Somebody online was like, rip off Nowhere from the Guardians of the Galaxy, the floating head. I'm like, hey, pal, that floating head's from 1985. When did the Guardians of the Galaxy come up with that shit?
Yeah. Nah, this is great, man. I really, really enjoyed it. For a first read of Nexus, I was kind of dreading it because I don't know. I felt like I was jumping into the deep end with no lifeguard, but I really loved it.
Baron knows what he's doing. Come on. He knows what's up.
Now it's time for reviews of comics from the week of Wednesday, December 18th.
Well, I see that we're to the inscrutable cosmic deity portion of the show.
I guess. Yeah.
While we're on a Nexus tear.
Hold on to your butts, everybody.
Yeah, holy Jesus. The New Gods are back in the pages of New Gods. #1 from DC. It's written by Ram V.
The New Gods.
The New Gods, yeah. Written by Ram V. If this was a Marvel book, it would be called the All New Gods.
The All New Gods.
You know that, right?
No question.
Art is by Evan Cagle with Jorge Fornes, and I'll get into that in a second. Colors are by Francesco Segala. Letters are by Tom Napolitano. Cover is by Namit Malavia. Great cover.
Yeah.
It's 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. Ram V and Evan Cagle reshaped the mythology of the DCU. An old god has died. Before you get confused, they are referring to Darkseid. And the reverberations of his passing are felt across the universe, setting forth the soldiers of an intergalactic army and awakening the latent powers of a mysterious child on Earth. But this has all been foreseen.
Powers, the latent powers.
Latent, latent, Latin, whatever. But this has all been foreseen, prophesied by the source, and fed as enigmatic images to its agent, Metron. Now, as Metron brings word of this cosmos-shattering prediction to the residents of New Genesis and Apocalypse, both worlds are thrown into chaos and conflict. On Earth, Scott-Free and Barda find themselves unaware of this incoming chaos while consumed with their most daunting task yet, parenthood. A lot of bodily fluids in this comic, unexpectedly. Yeah. Ram V and Evan Cagle bring the fourth world to a whole new generation in this epic of cosmic proportions. An old god has died, ... The new gods are born. So the reason I specified Darkseid at the beginning there is because when the old gods died, the new gods were born. That's the tagline of the original New Gods, like way back when. And so while there is an appearance of the old gods in this book, it's brief, and they are dealing with the death of Darkseid here. Ram V and Cagle bring you on a cosmic thrill ride that takes you from the death of the oldest gods to the birth of the newest of the new. There's a 4-page intro here presented as historical text, and that kicks off the book. It's beautifully illustrated by Jorge Fornes. Yeah. So he just does that little text intro. He is a tough act to follow for sure. And yet, Evan Cagle delivers an artistic tour de force that looks like the divine love child of P. Craig Russell and Larry Stroman.
Fair enough. Yeah. And maybe some Mobius thrown in there. Jesus.
Sure. Yeah. Mobius. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
This comic book is so gorgeous that I almost forgot to pay attention to Ram V's story, which is also excellent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is Ram V. Like in my mind, this is Ram V telling Hickman, hold my beer. I want to show you something.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what, Ram V?
You think you can do this?
For now with the Batman book. It's just that I don't think people really dug it as a Batman story.
Yes. And I thought it was amazing what he did. This is where he belongs.
This kind of shit. Yeah, this is his wheelhouse right here. Highfather is acting screwy in the wake of Darkseid's death, and he puts Orion in an impossible situation. But the writer also gives the Son of Apocalypse a moment to show his heroic side before reminding us why he's called the Dog of War.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I don't want to.
Oh yeah,
spoil anything,
I don't want.
Yeah, but
should I talk about it?
No, because I don't think a lot of people. I was like, wow,
that's a thing, and then that's a Kirby thing.
Okay, I had no idea.
That's from the OG old New Gods.
Yeah, like I've never seen that side of that character.
Yep. Yeah, it's bad news. This book is compelling. It's bombastic. It's heartwarming, and it is awe-striking. It's a huge buy it. I was floored. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and it might, maybe, I don't think it's recency bias at all. This is the best fucking looking comic book I've seen all year. This comic is incredible.
I mean, I thought we were spoiled with that Hayden Sherman book, and we are. Don't get me wrong.
This is different. But
this comic book is on a scale hitherto shown
Yeah.
in the year 2024.
It's outstanding looking, and this is exactly what you do with the new gods. It's like none of this all in stuff, and I'm going to speak all in like on a larger scale. It feels like they allowed people to come to them with the idea for the character that they want to do this all in thing for. And all you got to do is prove that I understand the exercise. And Ram V and Evan Cagle fundamentally understand what is cool about these characters.
Yeah, right.
How to make them look cool, and how to get a fan like me who just gets absolutely exasperated when the new gods show up and goes, ugh, and like left me wanting more new gods. That is the exercise. You can't just sell this shit to Joe Patrick and the new gods nerds out there, because there's like 5 of them, you know? Right? We have to sell this book to people. And the reviews are excellent. And Ram V is a name now, because whether you did or did not like his Batman shit, it was incredible to read and look at. It was wild.
But he's also been doing things he's been doing things like Rare Flavors and other projects here. Like, he's built a name slowly. He
amazing.
did the Swamp Thing book.
Yeah.
And now Ram V is a known quantity.
He's one of my favorite writers. And this book
he's here now to show us what he's capable of.
This book is amazing. And I'm saying this to everybody that doesn't give a shit about the new gods, has never given a shit about the new gods. I don't blame you. There has not been a lot of good new god shit since Jack Kirby did something with them. This is excellent new god storytelling. Buy it. Pick this up.
The New Gods, I feel like New Gods and the Eternals both, which they are kind of two sides of the same coin because of Kirby.
Only the Eternals I still like. Ugh.
Oh, right. I know. But that's because in the wake of Kirby's passing, nobody has really done justice to the New Gods in a way that had a lasting impact. Like, we liked the Gillen stuff, fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to redefine the New Gods for a generation of readers.
Absolutely.
And I think that New Gods and Eternals should both read like Jodorowsky or Mobius comics.
Yes, it should be wild. It should be wheels within wheels.
And this is what that feels
larger
like
than
to me.
life, bizarre sci-fi. Like, this is DC's Dune, right? Or maybe there's Zardoz. Sticking with All In, let's talk about household favorites, well-known DC heroes, the challengers of the unknown.
They're not even well known in my household, and I've known about them my whole life.
This is Challengers of the Unknown #1 from DC, written by Christopher Cantwell with art by Shine Isaacs, colors by Romulo Fiardo Jr., letters by Hassan Atsmani Alao, cover by Mike Diodato Jr., and this is good Diodato. Like,
I don't love the cover, but it's not as bad as the Infinity Watch cover.
This is a good cover. 32 pages for $3.99. Here is your solicit. Spinning out of absolute power and the DC All-In special, the terror of the dark side shockwave has cascaded across the DC universe, tearing open the very fabric of time and space itself. Only one band of super scientists have the right stuff to challenge the fate of a universe. Enter the Challengers of the Unknown! Alongside the Justice League, where the Challengers run day-to-day operations for the massive Watchtower, which is pretty funny, base in orbit above the Earth, Ace Morgan, June Robbins, Professor Haley, Red Ryan, and Rocky Davis must team with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the League to seal the rifts that threaten the galaxy. But a mysterious foe from the Challengers' past lurks in the shadows, and its connection to the God Shock will put the DCU on borrowed time.
It's Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. I don't know if that's true. I don't even think that's a Challengers of the Unknown villain.
I don't think so.
I can't name any Challengers of the Unknown villains.
Okay. This is a challenge, right? And it's not just because the Challengers...
Waka waka.
No pun intended. Not just because the Challengers are not a household name. They're also just people. They're scientists, right? This is the Fantastic Four.
They're not even all scientists.
Yeah. This is the Fantastic
One's
Four.
One's an
acrobat,
one's a boxer.
Well, but that acrobat's also an engineer. They are all scientists.
No. Like, one is he's an acrobat and a gymnast. Rocky is like a prize fighter. They're not all scientists at
and
all.
Engineers and stuff. Yes. That's part of their gig. Like, they do other stuff too, but they're all scientists. and they fight
I don't
with
think that's true, but okay.
They solve things through science, right? They are also sort of the human attaché to the Justice League. Now that we have a group of superheroes in literally a watchtower, over the world, that can look really bad. So
yeah,
working with people, and when the Justice League works with them, they put on a Challenger's uniform to send a very clear message like, look, we are working with humanity, not against humanity. Cantwell really thought this out, and it's a very smart script.
I really liked that thing about the uniforms.
It's great. It's great. And like when Ace Morgan is talking to Superman about it, Superman shows up wearing a Challenger's uniform with an S on it. And he's like, I can't believe we picked purple again. And he's like, actually, I picked the purple. And he just calls him on it. He's like, I know what you're doing. Like this is, and he's like, well, yeah. I mean, it looks kind of bad if we're up here lording over the planet as super people.
All right. Point of order. They are all scientists except for Rocky, who is only a quote unquote strong man.
Oh, okay.
Red
enough.
Ryan is an engineer and an acrobat. Professor Haley is a scientist and an academic. June is a roboticist. Rocky Davis is a strong man.
Okay. Well, that may be left over from the Silver Age.
Oh, yeah, right.
But they do some really nice setup with the script, sort of like showing us that superhero human being dichotomy and how some of the team is like, yeah, we're working with the Justice League and it's great. And some of the team's like, yeah, I had to unplug Orion's toilet. That was cool.
Well, yeah.
So as much
it's more clever in the script than it sounds.
No, but what I'm saying is like, as much as they are appreciated, there's still a feeling like, look, we're
lesser than
working here. And there's even a really cool thing they set up between Hal and Ace Morgan, which is just, it's a little thing, but you can tell this is going to be a thing going forward. And this has been in Ace Morgan's head for a long time. And Superman.
Yes, I liked that a lot.
Superman, in trying to pay Ace Morgan a compliment, may have opened a can of worms that he didn't know about. And
right.
Little things like that give all these, let's be real, dumb C-list characters that most people don't know some real personality, and sets up a great mission for them too. They are the ones that are in charge of investigating Darkseid's appearance and the stuff because the superheroes got superhero stuff they got to do full time. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And one of the challengers isn't even here. There's 5 of them.
Yeah, he's hurt real bad.
No, he's with the Question. Somebody tried to kill him.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was injured. But okay.
Somebody tried to kill him.
He's in a different book though. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Question book. So the Question book and Justice League are all really intertwined. And honestly, Isaacs, who is a good artist, I like Isaacs. But if you said, well, I'm going to give Sean Isaacs a job where he is drawing a huge group of heroes and stuff, I'd go, is he the right guy for that job? He totally rises to the occasion. He's great here and nails it. Is he Dan Mora? No. Okay, I'll give you that. But this book looks great, and he does an excellent job with a huge cast. I really like that we're leaning into this new Justice League all-in idea. This is a perfect way to fit these weird characters into it. And they're going to touch on all the weirdo corners of the DCU. They talk about Dinosaur Island, Captain Comet's here, like
the Sea Devils.
Yeah, and the Sea Devils are here. This is a buy it. I had a lot of fun with this. I love it when you take characters like this and give them a good mission and a smart writer. This is great.
Totally agreed. I'm going to talk about something that you said. This is no dig on Sean Isaacs. I think he's very good. I think he's great here. But if you were to tell me that Sean Isaacs was the new Justice League artist, I would go, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He's no Dan Mora.
He's at home here because this is a more personal story.
Yes.
It's a more grounded story. And while it's still got a pretty big cast and some of them are bigger than life superheroes, he excels at this character stuff that's on display here. I really, really liked the fact that Superman didn't feel tacked on. He felt like he was supposed to be here, but he also doesn't outshine Ace.
No.
The challengers are the star. And it's like Superman says it multiple times. He's like, Ace, you're in charge. We're here to assist you.
Right.
And that's how Cantwell writes it.
There's even the scene where they're like climbing a rock, on Mars or whatever. And Ace is like, can we just fly up here? This is stupid. And Superman's like, I didn't want to presume.
Yeah. No, it's so great.
That's great.
And the bit with the uniforms and why Superman is wearing the uniform, it's like, it's awesome. It's all awesome. I will say, and this is not Isaac's fault. This, I think, lies at Dan Morris' feet. But what the fuck are the Atoms wearing? They are wearing two of the worst versions of their costumes I have ever seen.
They've been wearing that in all the books they're in. And they're wearing that.
I know, and I hate it.
They're wearing that in their Atom book, too, the Atom Brothers.
There is nothing wrong with Ray Palmer's original Atom costume. No. It's perfect.
Yeah, the new one.
And Ryan Choi's version of that costume is also fine.
Yeah, like they made a choice to make them look like bugs here or something. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. But not Isaac's fault.
No.
This is great. This book, Challengers of the Unknown, Matt, like you said, it's sort of a comic that really needs to sell itself.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are going to ignore it.
This could be gone in 3 issues.
I think that Cantwell and Isaacs do a great job selling this book. And I want to read it. So please buy it. Our final comic book of this week is not a superhero book.
This is the final book of the year, Joe. This is our last review of the year.
Final comic of the year. Wow, man. It's the Horizon Experiment Motherfucking Monsters. It's a one-shot from Image. This is written by Jay Holtham with art and colors by Michael Lee Harris. Letters are by Micah Myers. It's 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. Esteemed TV writer Jay Holtham, Emmy-winning writer of The Handmaid's Tale and Jessica Jones, among other things, and white-hot indie cartoonist Michael Lee Harris, who's worked on books like Black Hitler and Choco Leche. Black Hitler. Present An Evil Dead for Black Nerds, a modern spin on the action-packed horror comedy for fans of Bitterroot and Chew. For those of you that might not recall, since we only really did the one, the Horizon Experiment is a series of one-shots curated by the very talented Hornsack Pitchett-Choate, and it is essentially a collection of very popular genres, but the stars, instead of white people as normal, it is people of color.
This is an Evil Dead for Black Nerds. That's what it's self-described.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's an Asian James Bond. An Arabic Hellblazer was one of them that I was really looking forward to. And so it's like popular genre X, but not with a lily white dude.
Yeah.
The elevator pitch, like the specific verbiage for Motherfucking Monsters, as stated in the intro page, is Evil Dead for Blurds, Black Nerds. And that's exactly what it is, all the way down to the evil book. And I don't say that to be reductive, because I really enjoyed the fresh spin that Jay Holtham put on the familiar genre. By the way, Jay Holtham also wrote the most recent Night Thrasher miniseries. It's pretty good. Not only does this book incorporate the demon worshipping fraternity trope from other horror films, but it's also a fish out of water story about a young black man's friends visiting him at a mostly white college campus, and they're real salty about it. Holtham states in the back matter that he became a horror fan as a youngster in the late 80s, one of the heydays for the genre. Like, just think about all of the iconic franchises that got its start in the 80s. But it was so rare to see himself represented on screen in a way that wasn't reduced to a stereotype. This book seeks to flip that on its head, and it is a great take. I feel like the art by Michael Lee Harris is going to be divisive. He's clearly an incredibly talented cartoonist. His use of color is bonkers. It's incredible. But his figure drawing is abstract in the extreme. And his line weights are so thick at certain points that I found it off-putting during my first reading.
I couldn't.
It almost,
I couldn't connect with it. It just didn't. It didn't work for me.
It almost looks like some elements were inked with a broad tip Sharpie. But the more I looked at it, the more I liked it, especially after a reread where I kind of I focused on the story. Now let me like drink it in and look at all of the various.
He's very
elements of
talented. And like, I even looked at some of the stuff he does online. It's great. And I think, and this is my opinion, I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. I think in smaller blasts, like online, where he's doing a short cartoon, maybe it works a little better. And the narrative can fall apart when you're doing a longer narrative thing with this style a little bit. Like some of it just kind of lost.
I don't know. I'd have to look. I mean, it might be sort of the reverse of that complaint I had with that you'll hear later in the episode about you'll hear it in the extra about the Infinity comic art being shrunk down and squished into panels on a page. Like maybe his artwork doesn't lend itself.
I think that's exactly.
Maybe at this scale,
it's
challenging. It might be challenging.
But he also may not be, might be his very first full-length comic book.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate. And I'm not but my bottom line is that on my second read, I actually appreciated the art a lot better. I also appreciated how he incorporated a wide variety of body types, not only body types, but skin tones as well. The main cast isn't some like monolithic shade of brown. And one of them, Kaya, even displays markings of vitiligo, which is that common autoimmune condition that causes the white patches to appear on the skin. And I thought that it was great that there was such a variety of visual interpretations. Harris is certainly a unique talent. I can understand people having a similar reaction to what some fans had early in Jim Mahfood or Damian Scott's careers. And we love those guys now. So I don't know. I'm a little bit torn about my rating because part of me says maybe it's a skim it because you might not like the art.
Well, what did Joe Patrick think? They want your
But maybe
opinion.
it's a buy it because I did like the art.
Well, you need to give it what your opinion, Joe, not what other people think. So they come here to
No, I know,
us.
but this is my recommendation, right? So I'm giving this a buy it. Like I liked it a lot. I liked the perspective.
Sure.
I like the point of view. I think the art is very, very interesting. And I think his use of color in particular is very striking. And I wouldn't mind if this one shot got promoted to a series because it ends on a cliffhanger and I want to see how it ends.
So this is a skim it from me. And in the sense that it's like, I'm not saying it's bad, but when I think about a book like Pornchak Picture Show did with The Manchurian, which was like the Asian James Bond, that wasn't just like...
I mean, Terry Dodson drew that.
Well, I'm not talking about the art, the story. We didn't just swap an Asian guy and here's the story. They told a really good, well thought out story. And by the end, I did not even notice that this James Bond was an Asian guy. This is very much, we swapped out black characters for white characters in a very generic horror story. Go. And fine. That's cute, I guess. And the art just didn't really grab me. And I didn't love it. I just didn't love it. It was fine. But I don't think it had the same like story grab that some of the other Horizon experiment stuff that I read did. I totally agree. There's not enough black representation in horror. This wasn't a very good horror story. That's
fair.
My problem.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if the type of horror story that it is necessarily the point, but I understand what you're saying. I also don't think that I forgot he was Asian is the selling point that you think it is.
No, but I'm not saying I forgot he was. That's not the point either. You're completely missing my point.
I think that their ethnicity is supposed to be part of the story.
I get it, but that's not the only thing. The only thing that is
I hear you.
different in this very generic horror story is the main characters are black. The end. That's it. The things that were different in the Manchurian was the character was Asian. He was a special agent, but he went about his special agent business in the way that an Asian person might do certain things and carry themselves. And that is where the story goes, right? There was nothing like that here other than they're black. It's just like Evil Dead. It's on a college campus. There you go. Like there just wasn't beyond that.
I mean,
if you scratch,
all right.
That's what I'm saying with generic.
I guess that's fair. I mean, your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what makes it a skim it for most people.
It just
but
didn't do much
I enjoyed
for
it.
me.
And so for me, it's a buy it.
And I couldn't connect with the art. This guy's very talented. I just couldn't connect with the art here.
It's challenging, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Check out our show notes over at twoheadednerd.com for more details on these comics. And while you're there, we'll have some written reviews as well. Matt, before we hand off half of this pile to Krampus, we need to pick a comic for Macho to add to the THN Permanent Collection.
Man, and this one
What was the best comic book you read in this pile?
It's got to be the New Gods book. It has to
Yeah,
be.
it's New Gods for sure.
Yeah, and like I'm so glad to have Nexus back. Challenger's a lot of fun. Batman Dark Matters.
That Batman book is a killer.
Incredible. I don't give a shit if I ever read Infinity Watch again, but like that New Gods book, it just...
New Gods is...
I was not ready for that. I just wasn't. It was great.
New Gods #1 is extraordinary.
Yeah, it really is. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It is time to head to the THN Sanctum Sanctorum to make our must-read comic picks for next Wednesday, December 25th. Joe Patrick, I am skipping Christmas, and I'm planning on hiding out and getting locked in Legend Comics so I can read comics all day, and I assume you're coming too. But if we just had to pick one comic to read on Christmas, what would it be?
Sorry, Matt. I'm celebrating Christmas 3 times next week.
Lame.
My pick for next week is Metamorpho, the Element Man #1 from DC. It's written by Al Ewing with art by Steve Lieber. It's 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. To know him is to love him. That fab freak who can change himself into any element in the human body. He's the one and only Rex Mason, alias Metamorpho. But can even he win out against Cyclops, the hairy eyeball of crime that gazes from the top of the pop charts to the lowest depths of evil? God, I get more excited the more I read.
I love their
And
just
even
going
into
full
the
60s Silver Age stupid
Oh,
Metamorpho.
God. Yeah, they're really leaning into it. And even into the far off, far out Ra realm. To find out, the Element Man must survive a hand-picked assassin who can match him change for change. And that's just the first issue. Join us for this covalent bond of friends and foes. Element puns. In the brand new ongoing, it's wishful thinking, series from superstar team Al Ewing and Steve Lieber. Why did I pick this? I don't really think I need to explain it, but I will. Because it's Al Ewing and Steve Lieber. Did you hear the solicit? Do you remember when Matt Fraction was doing that Jimmy Olsen book?
Yeah.
And it was like...
It was outstanding.
It was embracing the weirdness of Silver Age Jimmy Olsen books with a modern sort of sensibility and sense of humor.
Yeah, but there ain't nobody weirder than Metamorpho.
Right. And this reads to me exactly like what Al Ewing is doing with Metamorpho. It's even the same artist as the Jimmy Olsen book, by the way, Steve Lieber.
Yeah.
There are previews of Metamorpho #1 in this week's DC books, and it looks awesome.
It's great. Yeah, I'm super excited for this. This is another one. Like, I'm so glad DC is like digging in the bag and pulling the stuff out, and they're not going a limited series, but if it sells, we'll make it a regular. They're like, it's a full-on series. Let's not kid ourselves. If you don't buy this, Metamorpho will be gone in 4 issues. Okay,
right.
This is another one.
I think New Gods is actually labeled 1 of 10.
It is.
So they already know.
Yeah, but I think Evan Cagle draws more than 10 issues of this, and his brain explodes. You know. Like he dies.
We'll see, man.
Or somebody comes and takes him to a higher plane of existence.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he unlocks the source wall.
David Bowie shows up and takes him away from Earth, where him and Prince live now. My pick for next week is Dust to Dust #1 from Image. It's written by Phil Braun with art by J.G. Jones. 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. A tormented Oklahoma sheriff and a scrappy photojournalist hunt a serial killer at the height of the dust-choked Great Depression. Comics all-star artist J.G. Jones, who worked on Wanted a million years ago, I don't think we've seen him since.
Yeah, we have.
Have we? Presents the first suspense-filled issue of his new Giant Generator limited series. Jones, teaming up with co-writer Phil Braun, spins an unforgettable yarn of desperation, murder, and resilience in this beautifully hand-painted story of Americana in the primal grip of brutality. In the darkest days of the Great...
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
In the darkest days of the Great Depression, death stalks the Dust Bowl. As towering dust storms blast the parched Oklahoma panhandle, farmers try to flee the failing town of New Hope. Ironic. But no one gets far. Battling his own demons, Sheriff Meadows teams up with Sarah, a traveling photojournalist, in a desperate fight to stop a serial killer on the loose. The death that rides the dusters. I love J.G. Jones. J.G. Jones, one of my favorite artists of the early 2000s. It has been a long time since I remember seeing anything from this guy.
J.G. Jones drew that Mark Waid series Strange Fruit that everybody said was accidentally a racist.
A very long time ago.
I mean, it was like post 2011 because Legend was in the new shop. But yeah, it was a long time ago.
He's probably most famous for his DC cover art stuff when he produced amazing painted covers for DC's 52 miniseries from 2006 to 2007. I own one of his little process paintings of Wonder Woman leaning on a tree. It's pretty cool. It's gorgeous. I love this guy. And there's something about serial killer in the Dust Bowl. Whoa, you got me.
Sure.
That sounds bleak. Let's go.
It's like Andy Parks did a book a billion years ago called Capote in Kansas. And it's about Truman Capote in the Dust Bowl solving murders.
It's great.
And it's just like, okay. Yeah.
That was a little more tongue in cheek. This is going to be feel bad comic book.
Yeah. Normally, this is where we'd play a preview of our Patreon Extra to try and coax you to support our show for as little as $1 a month. Matt wrote weak. Yeah. That's wishful thinking.
I was going for $4 a month. See
I understand. But it's almost Christmas and Hanukkah, so we're giving you this one as a present. That's right. It's our gift to you. All you have to do, there is a catch. You have to head to patreon.com/twoheadednerd and download the free extra, and you'll hear us review 14 of this year's comic book holiday specials.
Excelsior!
That is it for THN 764. If you dig our new comic reviews, you can check them out on our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe to each show separately. We break up the back issue show and the gang hang, or you can listen to them as podcasts on YouTube Music or anywhere you find quality podcasts. Next week, the Night Nerds crew reunites for part 2 of Batman Nightfall. And if you need more THN in the meantime, join us for our THN Gang Hang Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central. Check out our Discord for details. Joe Patrick, what else do very polite and respectable nerds do at our Discord?
That's right. Hey, real quick, before we move on too far, did you know that you can stream our Patreon extras from the Patreon mobile app?
Yes.
FYI to all you people. I'm just saying, It's easy.
Okay.
On our Discord, you can discuss the Marvel comic solicitation. March. On our Discord, you can discuss the March comic solicitations with our solicitations czar, Brian Domingos.
It's an important job. He does not get paid for.
He does not. It is the official debut of the new IDW logo, and fam, it is still the worst.
I still thought they changed their name to IUD. I don't know.
Yeah. You can try and wrap your head around the Lord of the Rings legal rights. They are insane.
Whew.
But our in-house entertainment lawyer, Jimbo's on the case. Or maybe you want to answer the question of the week. This week's question, for absolutely no specific reason whatsoever.
Certainly not plucked from the headlines.
Who are your favorite vigilantes that take the fight to corporate institutions instead of, or in addition to, your garden variety criminals?
Or
no reason whatsoever.
Your garden
I'm a big
variety
Cardiac fan.
Or your favorite garden variety criminals that take that fight to,
Sure.
crooked
I
corporations.
mean, one could argue they're one and the same, Matt. I wouldn't make that argument, but whatever. My favorite is Cardiac. He happens to fight against the corrupt medical.
Nobody likes Cardiac.
I like Cardiac.
God.
Please keep your question of the week suggestions coming. They can be timely. They can be classic. Whatever. Sign up for our Discord with the link at twoheadednerd.com/Discord. While you're there, you can post about any of our segments. Or if you don't like Discord, if you don't dig on it, whatever. If you're a Luddite, you can send your submission for the Comic Pushers, for Ask a Nerd, or for any of our segments to twoheadednerd@gmail.com. If you send in an MP3 recording of your suggestion, we'll put it on the show.
Totally.
Just remember, the Worldwide Ziggurat has a strict no jerks allowed policy, which is why Matt said that everybody is very polite and well-mannered.
That's true. If you're new to the show and you would rather watch us change Miracle Man and Big Barda's baby's diaper than listen to any more, I assure you, it is only because you have not heard enough. The good news is you can hear the entire run of THN in our digital Longbox archive at twoheadednerd.com. THN is a listener-supported podcast. It would not be possible without the generosity of donors like our patron, David Desmond, arch nemesis of David DeMarco, because they're both D's, and my friend Denver
Double D's.
Daly. Now there are three, and there can only be one. Oh, my.
Yeah, get ready for the quickening.
Oh, if you like what you hear every week, it's easy to support the show. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/twoheadednerd. Go there. Open your present. It's a good time.
Before we go, our weekly shout-out goes to all of the Muppets living on Sesame Street, WB CEO and all-around capitalist alpha male shitbag, David Zaslav, announced that he was kicking the whole gang out of their Max home, leaving the show in danger of cancellation for the first time in 55 fucking years.
I don't want to live in this world anymore if we're firing fucking Elmo. My God. Are you kidding me?
Boy.
God.
It's word to the Sesame Street crew, and now that they're homeless, maybe they'll learn why Oscar's so grouchy.
Yeah, I mean, until next time, true relievers, remember to pre-order your comics, or your retailer might have to sell out to the corporate overlords, and we'll get another fucking Starbucks where the LCS used to be. This is the Two-Headed Nerd, signing off.